A Course in Miracles. Lesson 96. Salvation comes from my one self. Although you are one self, you experience yourself as two, as both good and evil, loving and hating, mind and body. This sense of being split into opposites induces feelings of acute and constant conflict and leads to frantic attempts to reconcile the contradictory aspects of this self-perception. You have sought many such solutions, and none of them has worked. The opposites you see in you will never be compatible. But one exists. The fact that truth and illusion cannot be reconciled, no matter how you try, what means you use, and where you see the problem, must be accepted if you would be saved. Until you have accepted this, you will attempt an endless list of goals you cannot reach, a senseless series of expenditures of time and effort, hopefulness and doubt, each one as futile as the one before, and failing as the next one surely will. Problems that have no meaning cannot be resolved within the framework they are set. Two selves in conflict could not be resolved, and good and evil have no meeting place. The self you made can never be your self, nor can your self be split in two and still be what it is and must forever be. A mind and body cannot both exist. Make no attempt to reconcile the two, for one denies the other can be real. If you are physical, your mind is gone from your self-concept, for it has no place in which it could be really part of you. If you are spirit, then the body must be meaningless to your reality. Spirit makes use of mind as means to find its self-expression, and the mind which serves the spirit is at peace and filled with joy. Its power comes from spirit, and it is fulfilling happily its function here. Yet mind can also see itself divorced from spirit and perceive itself within a body it confuses with itself. Without its function, then, it has no peace, and happiness is alien to its thoughts. Yet mind apart from spirit cannot think. It has denied its source of strength and sees itself as helpless, limited, and weak. Dissociated from its function now, it thinks it is alone and separate, attacked by armies massed against itself and hiding in the body's frail support. Now must it reconcile unlike with like, for this is what it thinks that it is for. Waste no more time on this. Who can resolve the senseless conflicts which a dream presents? What could the resolution mean in truth? What purpose could it serve? What is it for? Salvation cannot make illusions real, nor solve a problem that does not exist. Perhaps you hope it can. Yet would you have God's plan for the release of His dear Son bring pain to Him and fail to set Him free? Your self retains its thoughts, and they remain within your mind and in the mind of God. The Holy Spirit holds salvation in your mind and offers it the way to peace. Salvation is a thought you share with God, because His voice accepted it for you and answered in your name that it was done. Thus is salvation kept among the thoughts your self holds dear and cherishes for you. We will attempt today to find this thought, whose presence in your mind is guaranteed by Him who speaks to you from your one self. Our hourly 5-minute practicing will be a search for Him within your mind. Salvation comes from this one self through Him who is the bridge between your mind and it. Wait patiently and let Him speak to you about yourself and what your mind can do, restored to it and free to serve its will. Begin with saying this: Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Then seek its thoughts and claim them as your own. These are your own real thoughts you have denied, and let your mind go wandering in a world of dreams to find illusions in their place. Here are your thoughts, the only ones you have. Salvation is among them. Find it there. If you succeed, The thoughts that come to you will tell you you are saved, and that your mind has found the function that it sought to lose. Your self will welcome it and give it peace. Restored in strength, it will again flow out from spirit to the spirit in all things created by the spirit as itself. Your mind will bless all things. Confusion done, you are restored, for you have found yourself. Yourself knows that you cannot fail today. Perhaps your mind remains uncertain yet a little while. Be not dismayed by this. The joy yourself experiences, it will save for you, and it will yet be yours in full awareness. Every time you spend 5 minutes of the hour seeking Him who joins your mind and self, you offer Him another treasure to be kept for you. Each time today you tell your frantic mind salvation comes from your one self, you lay another treasure in your growing store. And all of it is given everyone who asks for it, and will accept the gift. Think then how much is given unto you to give this day, that it be given you. Lesson 96. Salvation comes from my one self. You tried to fix what was never broken. There is a man who lives in a house filled with mirrors. Every room reflects him differently. In one mirror, he looks kind. In another, cruel. In one, strong. In another, fragile. So he spends his days moving from mirror to mirror, trying to correct what he sees. He smiles at one, frowns at another, adjusts his posture, changes his tone, studies his angles. He believes if he can just get all the reflections to agree, he will finally be at peace. But the mirrors never agree, and the more he tries to fix them, the more fragmented he feels. This is the condition being described. One self experienced as two. Not because division is real, but because perception is fractured. Good and evil, loving and hating, mind and body, these are not qualities of truth, they are interpretations within a split frame. The conflict does not come from reality, it comes from trying to reconcile what was never meant to coexist. What solutions have been tried? Endless ones. Be better. Fix behavior. Balance the ego. Improve the body. Heal the personality. Accumulate success. Control outcomes. Spiritualize the identity. Punish the bad. Reward the good. Negotiate between opposites. Every one of these assumes the split is real. Every one of them attempts to harmonize illusion with truth, and that is why none of them work. Truth and illusion cannot be reconciled for the same reason light and darkness cannot be blended. Darkness is not something that can be mixed with light. It is simply the absence of it. You do not negotiate with darkness, you turn on the light. Reconciliation means bringing two things into agreement. But illusion has no reality to agree with. It cannot meet truth halfway, because it does not exist in the same order of reality. Trying to reconcile them is like trying to solve a dream problem while remaining asleep. The framework itself is the error. Problems that have no meaning cannot be solved within the system that made them. If the premise is false, every solution built on it will fail. Two selves in conflict cannot be resolved because there are not two selves. There is only the belief that there are. The self that was made, the one that changes, defends, fears, strives, compares, that self is an image. It is constructed. It is maintained. It is believed. But it is not real. The capital S self does not enter into conflict because it has nothing to oppose. It does not fluctuate because it was not made within time. It does not divide because it was not constructed from parts. It simply is. So when it says the opposites in you will never be compatible, but one exists, it is pointing to this. The opposites belong to the illusion. The one belongs to reality, and only one of those is true. Now the mind and the body. This is where it becomes unmistakably clear. A mind and a body cannot both exist as identity. One is cause, the other is effect. One is the thinker, the other is the image of thought. If identity is placed in the body, the mind becomes secondary, reactive, confined. If identity is recognized as spirit, the body is seen as neutral, without inherent meaning. Spirit does not need a body to be what it is. Light does not need a container to shine. The sun does not need a frame to exist. The body is simply part of the dream's imagery, a symbol within perception, not the source of being. When the mind serves spirit, it remembers its function. And its function is not to fix the world, not to perfect the image, not to reconcile opposites. Its function is to extend truth, to recognize, to witness without distortion, to align with what is already whole. This is why peace returns when the mind is aligned, because it is no longer trying to do what it was never meant to do. But when the mind believes it is inside the body, it becomes defensive, vulnerable, afraid. Now it must protect itself, compare itself, define itself. It sees enemies, threats, lack, limitation. It feels attacked because it has accepted a frame where attack is possible. So it tries to reconcile illusion with truth. It tries to bring fear into peace. It tries to make separation safe. But none of that can succeed. Because the entire effort is based on a false identity. So the instruction is simple and radical. Waste no more time on this. Not because effort is wrong, but because this effort is misdirected. You cannot fix a dream by adjusting the characters. You wake up. Salvation does not make illusions real. It does not improve the dream. It shows that the problem never existed. Saved from what? From the belief that there was ever something to fix. From the idea that identity was broken. From the endless loop of self-correction. From the search itself. And what function did the mind try to lose? Its true function. To serve as the bridge between awareness and truth. Instead, it tried to become an identity, a manager of form, a solver of illusions, a defender of a self that was never there. Now comes the turning point. Salvation is a thought, not a process, not a future event, not an achievement. A thought, a recognition, a remembering. And this thought is already in the mind, not added, not created, not earned, remembered. The thoughts of the self are not personal thoughts. They are not opinions, preferences, strategies, or reactions. They are reflections of truth. They carry peace because they come from peace. They do not argue. They do not defend. They do not divide. They simply are. To claim them is not to acquire something new. It is to stop denying what is already present. And this is why the practice is gentle. 5 minutes. Not to achieve, but to allow. Not to create, but to listen. Because what is being sought is not hidden, only overlooked. Now return to the man in the house of mirrors. One day, exhausted, he stops adjusting the reflections. He stops fixing expressions, stops negotiating with images, and instead, he turns away from the mirrors entirely. He walks toward a door he had never noticed before. It was never locked. It never required effort. It was simply not looked at. He opens it and steps outside. The light does not correct the mirrors. It renders them irrelevant. And for the first time, he is not looking at himself. He is simply being.
That is what is meant. Salvation comes from my one self.